Good Wednesday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great. We got another Watchmen update. We got reports coming from you guys and major news items such as major droughts across Europe impacting food prices worldwide. We're going to be seeing more about this as it goes along in the coming weeks and days. Afghanistan is back in the news. We're going to talk about that. And no, it's not for good reasons, of course. Big things afoot as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visits Washington, D.C., the same day as we get told that there's really nothing to the whole Epstein thing. Coincidence? I don't know. We also have copper tariffs we need to talk about. We got other tariffs and lots of updates from the Watchmen community. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. It could be the comment on this video or on any video on this channel. That gets it to the right place. We do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people with retirement accounts. If you have an IRA, 401k, and you want to get precious metals into your IRAs, you can transfer your IRAs to other IRAs, and an IRA can be self-directed to do things like pick up precious metals, as long as they're held by a bank. So if you have questions about that, about how that would happen, what the fees are and everything like that, Jonathan and his team can walk you through it. There'll be a link at the end of the video for that. Also, friends, it is Amazon Prime Day. Yesterday, today, and the next 2 days. So I put out a video yesterday of the best deals I was able to find, especially for preppers and people wanting to stock up. So I'll put that down in the pinned comment down below. You can hop over to that video, and underneath the video is all the links and stuff like that to the deals. All right, so let's start off with copper prices. Copper prices hitting an all-time high after President Trump floats a 50% tariff on imported copper. Since we don't really produce copper inside the United States, that could be kind of a big deal. There's copper in just about anything: electronics, power lines, power cables, power lines. There's a lot of copper that we use to keep the grid up. So this is not a small thing. Dr. Copper, as economists would call him, is the price of copper, and using as an economic indicator of how well an economy is doing. When the price is up, it means the economy is doing well. Well, not when you start slamming massive tariffs on it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That has not taken place yet, but President Trump is floating it. Stocks rise as Trump sends more tariff letters out, but delays the deadline. So because we're looking at an August 1st deadline for this, that is giving people a little more breathing room. But let's just admit it. The stock market responded yesterday and probably today with, yesterday was Taco Tuesday. Taco as in, it's a liberal phrase that's being batted around. Trump always chickens out, taco. But basically, it's not explicitly a political thing. It's more like just the idea that Trump threatens to do a lot, but he usually doesn't follow through. It usually doesn't turn out as bad as people are worried about, essentially. So, the idea that, okay, there's all these tariffs, but he's really just negotiating. He's not actually going to keep these tariffs in place. And because of that, they're saying it's not going to be as bad as people think it is, and so the stock market's kind of rallying back. So it's kind of another one of those don't believe your eyes kind of thing. We know better. So just because Trump is saying this is what tariffs are going to be, that's not what they're going to be. I think those people are not quite seeing the world clearly. Because President Trump has let a lot of, he's escalated tariffs and then backed them back down, but he didn't back them back down to zero. The tariffs continue to rise right now. And it looks like he's not being punished in the stock market for that. So he's just going to keep pushing them up until something breaks. Sort of like the Federal Reserve. Anyway, Israel and Hamas ceasefire negotiations resume as President Trump is really pushing for a deal. This is for Gaza, of course. Netanyahu in Washington, D.C. President Trump also discussing now forced transfers of Palestinians out of Gaza. Israel has started talking about that, basically, that Israel is just going to take over Gaza and move the Palestinians somewhere else. And you can just imagine how popular that's going to be in places like Egypt and Saudi Arabia and Iran and, name a Muslim country. Turkey's going to be really upset with that too. And we've already heard a number of these Muslim countries saying that is a non-starter. That cannot happen. And then Israel's just going to be like, well, we're just going to do it. And it looks like the United States is thinking about being on board with that. Also in this trip, Benjamin Netanyahu nominates President Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize for his negotiations on Israel's behalf for peace talks. The chance of President Trump winning the Nobel Peace Prize for anything is just about zero, because they are like foaming at the mouth leftist communists over there. So there isn't a chance of that. But he's got a couple nominations now, again. All right, President Trump is considering taking over the governance of Washington, D.C. Is one of the worst governed cities in the United States, but is unique in the fact that the District of Columbia technically answers to Congress. So it doesn't have a state, it just is managed by Congress. And so the federal government could take it over. So that may need to happen, given the amount of crime and the absolute horrendous nature of how things are being run in the city. All right, moving over to Afghanistan, which is, one step or two below Washington, D.C. The International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for several of the Taliban leaders over the persecution of women. Now, it's interesting that these warrants for the Taliban leaders' arrests come out literally the day after Russia recognizes the Taliban government of Afghanistan as a legitimate country. So Russia recognizes them as a country. Next day, boom, International Criminal Court declares them to be enemies of humanity. Coincidence? Yeah, I know, we're being told there's lots and lots of coincidences happening out there, but the real fact is that the crime against the globalists is that they got recognized by Russia as a legitimate country. No other country in the world has recognized the Taliban government as a legitimate country. Russia is the first, but probably won't be the last. I would not be surprised to see China follow suit relatively quickly. China and Afghanistan technically share a slight little tiny border, so they are technically neighbors. All right, the Emirates have started canceling flights to Tehran until mid-July, citing operational reasons. So just last week and this week, just canceling those flights, but they may restart them towards the end of July. All right, and big news out of Europe. Almost half of the Mediterranean basin and Europe are now in drought, spreading up from England, suffering the driest spring in more than 100 years, and especially Eastern Europe being plagued with drought. This is impacting crops. Right now, everyone's talking about the fires that are happening in France and England and Germany, and then over into Eastern Europe as well as Turkey. But soon they're going to be talking more about the crops that are dying on the vine. Just not having good harvests come in is going to impact a lot of food production across the world. So we'll see prices of food continuing to spiral upwards if we don't get good news from other parts of the world. Mohawk Duck says North Central North Carolina. We lost power in the evening and bailing buckets all night because of the rain. Nearby bridge is underwater as of 8:47 a.m. Boy Woody Crossing is closed. Cars and trucks have been flooded. Wreckage roadside folks please don't drive into puddles. Yes, friends, unless you know exactly how deep it is. And you're absolutely sure, do not drive down into it. Limited cell service going in and out of SOS mode. This is once again central North Carolina. They're having a whole bunch of flooding down there. Not quite as bad as Texas, but Texas was a flash flood and nobody saw that one coming. All right, Ruth says coleslaw dressing in Walmart and also on Amazon is through the roof. Updated, it's over $15 on Amazon and over $11 on Walmart. I may make my own, thank you. Yeah, coleslaw dressing. So we're seeing mayo products starting to go up in price significantly. Chipper Farm says, Central Florida. My youngest set of chicks, 1 month old, are outside in a secure cage. Last week, 3 died, and they were whole, not eaten by a rodent or anything. They get weak one day and are dead within 2 days. Yesterday, another appeared weak. The older chicken groups do not seem to have this problem. It could be the air or the feed. I have noticed the color of the chicken feed has changed several times in the past few months, going from light tan to dark khaki. This one's about Aldi here. Rebel Girl saying, Spring Hill, Florida. Yesterday I spoke with the manager at my Aldi's about their food selections in all categories having decreased while the aisles for non-food items have exploded. The manager tried to say that the company is trying to make sure that the store is stocked with the items that the customers want and not shelves full of stuff that people don't want. So, I don't know about you, but whenever I go to an Aldi, if I want to get to the front of the store quickly, I always go down the stuff aisle because there's never anyone on the stuff aisle. People don't want that stuff. They want the cheese. They want the milk, the eggs. They want all the stuff on the outside. They want the food products, right? And they didn't come there to get a lawn chair. But that's what they're saying. That's what people want. Sure it is. I looked her in the eye and said, a poor excuse is better than none. The look on her face told me everything. I told her my makeup vanity was larger than the canned fruit aisle, and that moving shelves around to keep people in the store longer looking for what they came for wasn't going to work when there was no product to buy. All right. Speaking truth to power, but please be kind to the workers out there, even the managers. They're mostly just doing what they're told, okay? Be kind to them. They're just trying to make a living. DS says, Arizona, White Mountains. I was at Walmart yesterday and 50% of the beer section was empty. Mike in Lower Michigan. No bees here either. Squash flowers, but they fell off with no squash. Also talking about crazy bugs. The fireflies are flying around in the daytime now. Yeah, that's not normal. Angela says, Northern Maine. At this time of year, if you leave the outside light on by the door, it's almost treacherous getting attacked by big June bugs if you go out. Not this year. I have only seen a few. Birds have also been fewer. Yeah, we're wondering about whether the reason why the bats and the birds are less is because there just aren't as many bugs for them to eat. Lisa says, Northeast Ohio, went hiking and there were deer flies and some mosquitoes. No honeybees. Only butterflies. But look up. Where are the red-tailed hawks? No bugs, fewer rodents. Maybe that's why no birds. I'm still seeing bats in the evening, but just a few. PDS says, Central Western Virginia. Not West Virginia, but Western Virginia. All right. Next to the National Forest. 2 subjects. 1, I bought a 16-ounce jar of salsa. 5/8 was water with a slight reddish tint. 2, with all the reports I've been watching from the Watchmen, here's what I see. Carpenter bees came out early and died. Just their bodies laying on the ground. Insects as a whole are virtually non-existent compared to other years. Bumblebees are in large numbers during June, but have disappeared in July. Only 2 honeybees so far this year. and birds, which are normally plentiful with at least 20 or so varieties, are scarce. Is anyone else seeing a shortage of birds out there? If so, let me know with the words update, of course, in your comment. Julie Girl says, here in eastern Nebraska, we also do not have insects this year. We don't even see flies. That's all the way over in Nebraska. I have had to resort to hand pollinating my garden with the tiny paintbrush. I am now just now having little cucumbers starting to grow. I have many friends who are having the same problems. So we're hearing this from a lot of you guys all over the place. Regarden says, Scottsdale, Arizona. 2 people died from a bee attack yesterday. There are definitely still bees in Arizona, but maybe not the right kind. Deeb says, southwest suburbs of Chicago. For several years, I have had a garden page on Facebook that is currently inactive. It's a pesticide-free working ecosystem filled with native plants that provide water, food, and everything else needed for the local migrating wildlife. My yard has gone from a thriving ecosystem filled with life to an empty ghost town. There has been a tremendous alarming decline in all insects, hummingbirds, songbirds, native birds, all varieties of bees, butterflies, and there are no caterpillars. Insects are food for other insects, birds, and some mammals. They are the backbone of the ecosystem, which will collapse without them. I am very concerned and afraid of what is happening to our environment. Most of us, we didn't really have a problem with the environmentalists when they were talking about protecting animals and that kind of thing. It's when they just went overboard on everything and started talking about carbon dioxide as if that's a problem. But I think we realize that, we need to protect the variety of wildlife in our spheres, and we are concerned about having real animals, not just farm animals, but animals of all types out there. Okay, if we don't have any mosquitoes, I don't think we'll cry too many tears over that, but we do like the birds, and we do like the butterflies and the bees and all that, because we realize that they are a vital part of the ecosystem. I don't think any of us have really realized what mosquitoes do in the ecosystem, but anyway. Jenny says, I am on the Oregon coast. I bought a small greenhouse to grow 12 tomato plants and 2 summer squash this year. Between what was coming from the sky and herbicide drifting from my neighbor's yards last year, I did not consider my garden area to be organic anymore, so I fought back. Be sure to put some bone meal or other bloom product in with them to produce more blooms. I hand pollinate the squash and shake the tomato plants a little for self-pollination. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. Like I said, down in the pinned comment is the link to the video that I did yesterday, if you missed it, on Amazon Prime Day sales. Check on that. I know YouTube didn't like it doesn't like the mechanics of it. People watch it for just a little bit, click on a link and leave it, and YouTube sees as people not liking the video. So I put that down in the pinned comment down below. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do with your retirement account, there's a link right there. If you want to check out another video from this channel, I'll actually put the yesterday's YouTube Amazon Prime Day link right up there, so you can just tap on the screen. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report.